Ellen Mirojnick, when you found out that you were shooting the first season of The Knick all at once, what was your reaction and how did you plan for that?
I was very happy actually because we shoot it like a movie. So although it's 560 pages thereabouts, that was pretty overwhelming. But then what we proceeded to do was break it all down and really break it down like we break down a regular 2-hour piece of project. We broke it down by character. We broke it down by section of the immigrants, the hospital, the different elements of society, the high society, mid society. We did a palette. We did research. We did everything under the sun to figure out how to create New York City in 1900. Because when it comes to costumes, there aren't too many costumes available. It's 114 years ago. So the idea of using real, authentic, vintage pieces is it's a very, very limited idea, simply because the clothing has disintegrated. It's not available to put on any actors, no less any extras or secondary players. So the biggest challenge was, sincerely, it was how do we create New York City with 5,000 extras and a principal cast of 10 actors.
So how much direction do you receive, or when you get the script, are you just like making notes as you go about what each character would be wearing?
There was a very, very, very clear, it was clearly directed that when we began the Knick was not going to be oldie-timey. It wasn't going to feel like something that we necessarily had seen before, even though it took place in 1900, and there have been previous period films or period pieces that took place at the same time. We wanted our show to feel new, and we wanted to have everybody feel as if they were electric. They were experiencing things for the first time. And with that, as an overall directive, we then broke down the characters in terms of what they would look like. But the doctors had an overall look, and then we had to break that down per character. The nurses, I had to design the nurses' uniforms, because there wasn't a Knickerbocker hospital to say, well, we're going to replicate that. This was a fictional story, and we just had a lot of great research that we used as a springboard, and then we just jumped off the edge of the boat as if we were diving into a deep sea.
You mentioned the nurses' costumes. Can you tell me about the little hats that they wear and what purpose those serve?
Well, part of the nurse's uniform has a hat. I mean, there was an apron, a shirt waist, what's called a shirt waist, an apron that went over it, and a hat. It indicated that they were working nurses. That being said, we chose that type of design. There was a hat reference that I had used, and I thought it was very aggressive, if you will. And I think that that's what our nurses need to feel like. We need to have an aggressiveness to it. And I think that's why the design of the hat has that kind of upward feeling.
And what's your favorite costume from the first season that we've seen?
John Thackeray's costume when we first see him.
Why is that?
Did I describe it?
Yes.
Okay. John Thackeray has on his green velvet cutaway jacket, a waistcoat in black and green, and his trousers are a hopsack, I believe, of a black and green as well. But all of the tones, it's tonal, it's tone on tone on tone. We have a splash of red in his tie. And he has his he walks out of the opium den and he puts on his blue glasses to shield his eyes from the bright morning sunlight. And he has on his very everyday white boot.
How was buying clothes different back then?
In 1900, people, not our characters, but general population, had one set of clothing. They had maybe a summer set and a winter set. Poor people, one set. Could be woolen, could be cotton. It wouldn't be summer whites and winter darks in New York. It would just be one set of clothing. If they came over on a boat and were on a boat for a few weeks and landed in New York and were not sent back to the old country because of some illness and arrived on the shore, they had just one outfit, one until they got established and got on their way. Our characters have a little bit more. They are a bit wealthier by profession and by stature, and but not for the poorer people or the lower echelon people. There's usually just one costume that they really do wear that we see, and the others have an assortment, but not a very extensive wardrobe. Because what we do on the Knick is, because of the 114 years of age when it comes to costume and fabrication, I design and we make all of the clothing. We build all the clothing. Yeah, it's great fun. It's great fun because we don't take too many liberties. We do it exactly as is, but we're able to exaggerate a silhouette or really make a shoulder be exactly what we need it to be for the men. And the silhouette of the men's costume at that time was very different than it is right now, with the varying degrees of shoulders and different types of lapels and so on. There wasn't that much to choose from, but it's a very favorite period of mine simply because you can really see a man's silhouette, and I think it's quite attractive.
Okay. And you've also worked this season on How to Get Away with Murder.
I did the pilot for How to Get Away with Murder, and it was great fun. And all of the cast was in place when we went to work, but the last person in was Viola Davis. And she was an absolute joy and so up for being that type of woman. No one ever asked her to be that kind of woman. So she was just thrilled that she got to be a sex symbol and aggressive and seductive and glamorous. And she worked it. She had a great time. And the other members of the cast were terrific. So it's wonderful to do a pilot in that you have such a great core of a story and characters. We just begin to get to know them. So it's great to establish a look that they can live within and allow the character to grow. And also when you do a pilot, it's great to do it because you know it has to look good because it has to sell. It has to grab your attention. And the viewers are very sophisticated now and love to see spicy, seductive, glamorous clothing and costume. It's a different time now, and I think glamorous women are just they're just like delicious.
So on behalf of Gold Derby, thanks very much for taking the time to talk to us, and congratulations on your recent Costume Designers Guild Award nomination, and we wish you the best of luck at the Emmys.
Thank you so very much. Bye.